very much appreciate and kind of look back on longingly, because they don't do this too much anymore. It is tradition down in South America, in Mexico, I guess before computers and cell phones, that when a young man wanted to court a young lady, sometimes he would go to her house and, throw a rock at the window to talk to her. And sometimes he would sing her a song, play his guitar, and serenade her from the yard while she was in the window. And even if he didn't play too well, even if he didn't sing too well, she was impressed and felt special and new, because he was willing to make himself vulnerable, get out there, I guess you could say. But if the musician, the young man, was an actual musician, and as he was playing and could sing and was serenading her, if he realized, because oftentimes they would just play some old love song, some old traditional song, but if he realized, wow, he's singing me a new song, and then find out, where did you get this song? And then he says, I wrote it for you. I wrote this song for you. That is extremely new, extremely special, extremely fresh, and may I dare say it's very satisfying, because he put thought and effort, and he was a master musician. Because I have my own theories about music. I think music and math are kind of the same in that mathematicians don't go up to a chalkboard and make up math. Maybe someday they will, But they discover math. Numbers are real, but they're out there. And mathematicians will tell you it's like a work of art that you kind of tap into. But I also think music is kind of out there too, that the songs are out there, and they just have to be discovered. You have to tap into them. It's like art or a sculpture. Have you ever seen Michelangelo's David? It was this big block of granite, and he carved out the beautiful statue of King David. And people would ask him, how did you do that? How did you do that? And he said, it was easy. David was already in there. And he said to cut him out. Cut out everything that wasn't David. It was already there. Music is discovered. And I also think that if you will learn from the Jewish people, when they would pray to God, they wouldn't just talk in their Hebrew language. They would sing the psalms. They would sing them. And I think as we look back on that original sin in the Garden of Eden, or that we have, or even creation, that God sung them into being. He breathed on them. He breathed them into creation. And then Adam, when he sees his wife, he sings that song, at last, bone of my bone, and flesh of my flesh. That's fresh and new and special. It is, you could say, Eve was the Immaculate Conception too. She was conceived without sin. But they got dirty. They got dirty, and the more dirty they got, the more they hid themselves. And you talk to anybody who's just sinned or been a part of a sin, sometimes they'll say that, I feel dirty, I feel icky. And as we read through the scriptures, it just gets more and more dirty. They only had one rule: don't eat the forbidden fruit. And by the time you get through the prophets, there's a stack of rules this high, because they need them. Sin has been such a part of their lives. But today we celebrate the Immaculate Conception, and it is not Mary conceiving Jesus in her womb. It is the conception of our Blessed Mother in the womb of her own mother. She is the fresh. She is the start over. She is the newness. And then Gabriel, as we sing and as we say the rosary of the Annunciation, he gets down on his knees like a man who does to his bride, and says to her, Hail Mary, full of grace. Recognize that she is sinless. She is the start over. She's the newness, the freshness, the Immaculate One. And as she goes to visit Elizabeth, and Elizabeth says those famous words, "Who am I that the mother of my Lord should come to me?" And Mary busts out singing. She busts out singing to her in that great song of "Here I Am. My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord." It's all about the music, the new music, the fresh music. As we sing over and over again, sing a new song. And when we sing it in a new way, it means something new. But we have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared for that so that it feels new. You know, I told this to the congregation last night. I have a little confession to make. There's a little YouTube channel that I enjoy watching, and it's called Detail Geek. I'd recommend it. It's some guy who lives up in Minnesota, and he details cars. He washes cars. And people bring their cars over, and they're disgusting. They're disgusting. They pull, and he charges them like $1,000 because it takes him 10 hours. But you can watch it by stages as he slowly cleans the underside, cleans the outside. He approaches it with not just brushes, but with paint brushes and even cotton swabs. He takes out the seats and shampoos them over and over again. It takes him 10 or 12 hours sometimes. And it's very satisfying to watch. It's like sin. It takes a lot of work. He's sweating. And all of a sudden you have a brand new vehicle. And then the customer comes in, sees their vehicle, and comes to tears. They'll even say, "I didn't know it was white. I didn't realize that. I didn't know it could look this way." And then you have the detail geek going, "That'll be $1,200. It was that dirty." But you see the freshness, the newness on their faces. They get in their car as if it's a new car. And like I said, there's something very satisfying about watching that process. But I would say also that when someone goes to confession, it is an invitation to get in there and do some detailing, to go in the nooks and crannies of your life. That's what it means to make a good confession. And the more embarrassing it is, the more buried it is, the more it needs some deep cleaning. And when it comes out, sure, it's a little gross. You might even be out of breath, but it's out. But it's out. But oftentimes, especially if like we're at a Steubenville conference or DCYC, or even here in the chapel, we'll hear confessions while they're having adoration. And they're singing. And sometimes we give a penance. When we give someone a penance, is, "I want you to go out there. I want you to sing along. Sing louder." And they'll walk out clean and immaculate, and they'll start singing, and it's like they're singing a new song. It's different now. They're clean. And now they may sing an old song, but man, it feels like a new song. And they sing it with more gusto and more power, just like that young man below that window, giving thanks to God that she's even looking at him, that she even smiles at him because he recognizes her beauty, her purity. And we stand here in awe and hopefully are singing a new song. And as we go through Advent, hopefully you have a chance to go to confession, do a good deep cleaning. And I recognize that when we look at her and her praise and her praying for us in her immaculate self, she is the potential for us. Every time we experience a sacrament, we can, as she did, like walking tabernacles, in an immaculate way, sing a new song to God.